Hello everyone, this is Julia. Thank you so much for joining me on my craft room adventures. Today I'm finally back after a little bit of a break with a new card making video, and I did take a break because I just really needed to slow things down, but I used the time to just reorganize everything and also change up my filming setup so it's working much better for me now. And now just let's go over all of the supplies I'm using. I'm using the Heffy Doodle Pandatastic painters, a little shellfish for the sentiment, and also a lot of the beach supplies and the little crab as well. The Sealy Friends for the party hat, or party hats that I used. Gull for the big buoy. And Otter for the tiny shells, the gift box, and the little beach ball. For my dies, I don't have any Heffy Doodle Slimline dies, so I just used the regular border dies and I just ran them through my die cutting machine twice. I used the Breaking Waves border dies for the ocean and the Stitch Slopey Joe borders for the sand. For my background, I'm using the Sweet Scalloped Slimline dies for my frame, and then the Stitch Slimline Trio dies, the second largest size, for my stitched panel. I stamped all of my images onto Transotype perfect coloring paper, and I'm using my Copic markers to color them in. For my pandas, I'm going in with N5 as my darkest shade, then I'm blending that out with N3. I just added the shadows like below the chin where the little where the white belly meets the black part, or the dark gray in my case. Then I'm blending that out with N1, just going over all of the edges. And then I'm going in with N0 just to blend everything together. For my cheeks, I'm using RV10. And to add some shading to the white areas, I'm bringing in the N1, N0, and the colorless blender. Also going over the cheeks to blend out the RV10. Then for my pink color combination on my card, I wanted to use like hot pink. So I'm going in with RV19, blending that out with RV25, then with RV13, RV11, and finally RV10 for my highlight shade. I did go over everything a second time, but I did skip the RV11. I just went straight in with the RV10 for my second coat. For my brown shades, I'm using E30 markers. I'm going in with E35 just to add some shading to the little beach house. And I'm blending that out with E23. And I just use the stripes, the vertical, yeah, the vertical stripes that the stamp already comes with, just to guide my shading. And I just blended that E23 out with E21 just to add a little bit of definition there. For my yellow combination, I'm using Y17, Y15, Y13, and Y11. For my blues, I'm using B28 as my darkest shade, and I'm showing the coloring of the bucket in this case, but I didn't actually end up having room on my card for it, but I just left this clip in so you can see the coloring of the blue combination. As I said, using B28, B26, B23, and finally B21. I just added some shading around the edges, then below the rim, and also below the handle because that would cast a natural shadow. Then it's time to ink blend my background. I'm just bringing in an MFT Slimline Cloud stencil, and I'm using Salty Ocean Distress Oxide ink. And as you can see, I had way too much ink on my brush, so it actually ended up a little bit darker than I intended, but I just blended it out and it's fine. We can still use this. So I just twisted and turned the stencil just to add some inking. I wasn't quite sure how far down I needed the clouds to go, so I just blended them 2/3 of the way down. Then I'm also adding some splatters of the salty ocean just for some added interest. I used the ocean border, and I ink blending that with peacock feathers just lightly. I just have this on my glass mat, and I just added a bit of removable tape runner to the back so that it wouldn't shift around. Then I'm using antique linen and tea dye, which is my favorite combination to create sand. Just adding some tea dye on the edge of the die cut. Then I'm also adding some splatters of tea dye and of gathered twigs, just with some water to add the sand-like texture. I still had some blue on my brush from the previous splatter, so I just quickly had to wipe that off. And yeah, off camera I also ink blended the scallop panel with picked raspberry distress oxide ink just to match the hot pink on my colored images. I added the scallop piece onto a Slimline card base, then added my cloudy panel on top, and now I'm just using tape runner to add my borders. For my sentiment, I just stamped straight onto the card. I just used a grit transparency to line it up. I'm using VersaFine Onyx Black ink to stamp it, and I just thought it was such a fun sentiment to use the Go Cray Cray on your birthday with a little crab. And now I'm just adding all of my images onto the card. I'm mostly using liquid glue, and just the pandas and like two other elements will be popped up with a little bit of foam for some dimension. I'm just adding the like party hats to my pandas, and this is when I realized that I added the party hat to the wrong panda. So I just quickly removed it, and it was just in time before it had time to dry, because I wanted the party hats to be on the two pandas that are to the left and right of the little birthday panda in the middle. I just used an adhesive eraser to remove any of the like residue. And I'm just removing the backing paper of the foam squares, and I'm starting to add those down. I had to move the right panda a little bit to the left so that the pinwheel wouldn't be covering the buoy. Then I added the other little pinwheel to the left panda. The little crab is holding a present, of course. He's coming to a birthday party, so he has to bring a present, right? Then I'm just adding lots of little presents, the beach ball, the little shovel, and lots of little stars and seashells, just sprinkling those around the sand just to fill up the scene a bit more. I did try to bring in the bucket as well, but there just wasn't room for it. Then I'm just going over all of the little accessories with the Nouveau Aqua Shimmer Pen in glitter gloss, just to add a little bit more shine. And that finishes off my card for today. I had so much fun making this, and I just love making like seasonal birthday cards for anybody that has like a summer birthday. I think this would be so cute to gift. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Give the video a thumbs up if you did. I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel for more crafty videos, and I hope I'll see you next time. Until then, have a wonderful day. Bye!